Hey, this is Jack, and this video is called These 4 Words Are Killing Your Dating Life. So we're going to be getting right into today's video. My name is Jack. If you're new to the channel or you haven't yet subscribed, this channel is about personal growth, self-development, authenticity, and dating. I would love to have you as part of the community. And an invitation, the first link beneath this video is a free resource. It's called The Checklist. You can run any guy through it and notice if he is investing in a connection with you. Let me do the heavy lifting so you don't have to. So let's get into it. What are these 4 words that may be killing your dating life? So the 4 words are these. I don't trust men. I don't trust men. Now, if that is a true statement for you or encapsulates some truth for you, firstly, you have my compassion because you likely will have had difficult experiences with men and some good reasons why you don't trust men, right? So let's start there with your experience and witnessing and noticing that and validating it. And nothing in this video is about anything more than getting you closer to your true guidance to yourself, your true intuition to yourself, right? So this isn't take it from me. This is me trying to provide some scaffolding that may help you get to deeper and truer answers for yourself or not, right? This is an invitation, but let's see. So if you have the experience that you don't trust men, what you may have noticed is that it's hard for you to let your guard down, right? Or you may have experiences that when you eventually let your guard down, you feel like the rug has gotten pulled, and that's perhaps been disorientating or devastating. If you have difficulty trusting men, you may find that you push men away, or that you don't create a place for them to step into your life. If you don't trust men, you may find that you don't get the support and help, that basically you don't receive from the masculine what you want to receive, which is probably some mix of attention, care, support, problem solving, heavy lifting, right? And I don't just mean that in the can you bring the heavy groceries in from the car, but just a sense that your life is easier if you have the supportive masculine presence in your life. So let's get into this. What might be some better options for you than saying I don't trust men that might actually more reflect your truth, right? We're taking something that could get crystallized as a overarching truth, and we're actually trying to find a more nuanced, what we call partial truth, that may get closer to your experience. So if that doesn't make sense to you, hopefully it will as we get into this. So here's something that you could say. Instead of saying I don't trust men, you might say I don't trust men who aren't worthy of my trust. Right? So rather than tarnishing all men with one brush, you're actually noticing, yeah, there are a subset of men that aren't worthy of my trust, and so I don't trust them. So I'm willing to call a spade, but I don't presume a spade's a spade until I actually get evidence that this is someone that's not worthy of my trust. You could also say, I don't trust men who my intuition is that it's not right to trust. So I don't trust men that my intuition doesn't trust, right? What does that mean? It basically means I'm going to continue to trust myself, right? Because you could just say your intuition is a proxy for yourself, right? So I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to trust my intuition that if someone doesn't look right to trust, I'm not going to trust them. Right? Again, I'm removing the blanket statement, and I'm noticing that there's some relationship between trusting men and trusting myself. That actually my best safety is actually noticing my intuition and not getting taken over by my fear and my doubt or by past patterning, by actually staying more pristinely present and connected to my intuition, so I notice if this is someone that's worth trusting. Another thing you could say is I'm slow to trust men. Right? Now, you might be listening saying, Jack, what's the difference, right? I don't trust men, I'm slow to trust men. This is just like finessing words. Well, we are deeply linguistic beings. We live in language, and so language matters. Language has an impact on us. And it might be truer for you to say, I'm slow to trust men, right? Which, what does it do? It leaves open the possibility that there might be someone I want to trust, right? Rather than, again, the generalized, I don't trust men. I'm slow to trust. And that would be a great strategy, particularly if any of you watching right now have had the experience that you've trusted too quickly and then gotten burnt, right? So slowness in trust and in dating generally is likely to be your friend because it gives you more time to gather more data. You don't create premature ideas, you don't create premature attachments. It's almost like you stay closer to yourself, more connected to yourself in the process. Last thing that you could say here is I don't default to trusting men, right? So some people solve the problem of trust by having a default, right? Either they tend to trust too easily or they trust too harshly, right? So either the default is they trust people or the default is they don't trust people. And sometimes it's easier to have like a default strategy like that in life, right? Because it kind of simplifies things. But you may have also noticed that there's a lot of gray and nuanced territory in life, and it might be better for you to say, I don't default to trusting men or to not trusting them. I'm here to see, right? Like if you were a good scientist, you don't go into the experiment having the conclusion, right? Real science is you might have a hypothesis that you're testing, but we actually want to get the data. We actually want to run the experiments, get the results, and let's see. That's good science. That's also good for you when it comes to trusting men. Let's see. I don't need to know. Now, if I'm going to default one way and I want to stay safe, I'll default to, I won't trust you until I trust you, right? This sort of idea that you're going to earn my trust. But even if you could graduate from that, it might be to default to, like for you, and let's just put dating and men aside for the moment. Let's just imagine that if you're watching this video right now, trust is an important theme in your life, right? In the through line essence of your life, trust is an important theme, right? If someone were being in spiritual speak, they may even say you were incarnated into this life to work on issues of trust. Now, you may think that's not very sexy. You may think that's not true. That doesn't apply to me. All that's allowed. It's just putting a possibility because it can get so easy to focus on men, right? And there's so many untrustworthy men. Now, of course, there are both untrustworthy men, and it's probably true at some level to say all of us men at times could have essences or fractions of behaviors that are untrustworthy, right? Like in a sense, no one is going to be 100% on their game all the time, every day, every moment, right? That's actually one of the things I think that differs between how men trust men and maybe how women trust men. I think men look a lot more to the overall sort of track record of the guy, right? He doesn't have to be 100% all the time. Like if he's a 95% that he follows through on what he says he's going to do, that's actually good enough, right? If you're more in your feminine essence, you may have the experience that for you, trust is a little bit more like, do I trust you right now, right? Which might be based upon what was your tone with me in what you just said? Or have you been noticing that I'm hurting? Or how regulated is my nervous system? Or how connected are we? And all these things may mean that, a bit like a stock price, even if we say, this is the day trend, actually a stock price is doing this, right? Literally microseconds every moment. You might find that your overall sense of trust shifts a little, particularly the more feminine you are, that might be even more true. Right? So all of this is inviting the possibility if you just defocus over there on the guy and focus up over here, trust is a good thing for any of us to work on. It's a deeply, inner work, spiritual oriented thing, right? What do you trust? Can you trust? Is life trustworthy? Can I trust my own intuition? Can I trust my higher guidance to myself? What gets in the way of trust, right? And here's a clue. Most of it is like neck and up. The more we're spun out, the more we're in the future, the more we're in anticipation, the less we're in the present moment, in the here and now, the harder it is to trust, right? So trust is a whole practice. It has to do with embodiment, integration, quietening the mind, putting more presence in our bodies and our hearts. I mean, these are deep developmental things. This is mature adult development. And it's not always sexy, but it's real, So none of this is to exonerate untrustworthiness in me or in any other guy, right? We've got to do our best to work to be the most trustworthy we can. I'm just saying it might be a little bit more nuanced, and the more you work on some of the things on your side of the fence, the more you can trust yourself to make discernments that are good for you, right? Because at the end of the day, most of the time, we don't actually want to live in judgment of people, right? We don't want to live in a judgment of, spending our whole time getting our PhD in untrustworthy men. What we actually want is the self-knowing and centeredness to own our intuition and discernment. Because discernment is what is right for me. Judgment is you're doing something wrong. Now, there is, I think, a space where collectively we say, yeah, these behaviors, we judge them or we punish them or we regulate them. But in terms of personal growth, a lot of it's about discernment. Is this guy good for you? Does it make sense for you to go on another date with him? Is there a way that you can learn how to trust more deeply? Is he worthy of your trust? Can you cultivate that between you? When there's a tear to the trust, can you repair it? I mean, these are sometimes difficult things, but they're the real essence of this. So I'm inviting more awareness about the language that you use, right? I'm slower to trust, or I don't trust men that don't align with my intuition. So that you're not in this black and white reality of all men are untrustworthy. If you have literally had the experience of all men are untrustworthy, you have my compassion, right? Because that's a difficult experience to live into. I do still have some possibility for you that the more you can discern what is good for you, even if it's a lot of no's until there's some kind of yes, that you might have a different experience through time of connecting with men, however men show up in your life, right? Whether it's as family members, as friends, as intimate partners, co-workers, colleagues, because we all need each other at some deep level. So the more that we can find ways together forward, the more we can find ways of trusting one another that are wholesome and genuine, the better it is for all of us. So if you're doing any of this work on trust, don't underestimate. You are doing it for yourself and your own evolution, but you're also doing it on behalf of all of us, because the more we can cultivate more trusted ways of being with ourselves and other people, the better we are together. So if you've resonated with anything that I'm saying, or if you are in a connection right now with a guy and you want my help in the discernment about what's in front of you, click the first link beneath this video. It's my guy checklist. You can run any guy through. It's 9 steps, takes 5 minutes. I had lots of great feedback about that. And if you want more in terms of working in a deeper container with me, check out the second link beneath this video. It's about my transformation program. This is my 6-month live group coaching program where we get to work together. I've never had an extended period of time like this to work with people. I'm super excited about it. Click that second link and we can see if that might be a good fit for you. As always, I'm Jack, and thanks for being here.